Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Starcraft 2 replay cast. Today it is a 1 vs 1 on Galactic Process between our red Protoss player, ShowTime, and up top, our blue Zerg player, Snute. And we are going to speed this up to the 8x mark, to the 2-minute point of the game, when everything starts to get good, and all the units are around, all the fun stuff starts to happen. Both players starting with a quick expansion. Of course, not particularly unusual for Zerg. And Probe looking to block the drone from expanding here, but really the expansion came down here, so I think he doesn't actually know that the expansion came down there, so maybe he's going off and looking somewhere else. But the Zerglings certainly know where the probe is. And score a nice quick probe kill there. And there goes a second expansion immediately for Snute. And a Stargate coming out for ShowTime. And Adepts to follow. And Adept transferring along there. Had to clear the old Whistler. And so far I've kind of casted 3 in a row, just kind of gotten on a little quick frenzy of casting here. Haven't casted StarCraft 2 in a little while, so I figured, hey, why not? Why not just cast a little swath of them? And so far, a pretty stale beginning of the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad game. Phoenix on out for the Protoss. Second Phoenix on the way. I'm going to start taking out these Overlords here. And force the Zerg to make new ones. There goes the first Overlord. Don't think I see any more in the area. And a third hatchery coming down for Snute. So a bold move there. Bold move indeed. And now 2 Phoenix moving across the map. Spread out a little bit there to get as much vision as possible. And they're definitely going to see at least 2 expansions. And perhaps they didn't quite see that one down there. They're going to lift up a couple drones here. And 2 quick kills. And now Gateway's coming up, even more Phoenix on the way. Third Phoenix is up. And Spore Crawlers coming down at every expansion here. Now these Zerglings spreading out all across the map, taking both of these Xel'Naga towers. And there goes another drone in transit. And the drones are lined up to go to the new expansion, so as soon as they come out, they're just going to be running right after these Phoenix here. And looks like Snute not aware of this, and is just losing drone after drone. And I'm sure ShowTime is glad to just sit there for now and take out drones, although I suppose using 5 of them may be a slight waste. But hey, drone kill is a drone kill. And now the Overlords have been spotted, the cluster of Overlords. And should be able to take out a second one before having to actually bail out of there, maybe even a third one. And that's going to put Snute way behind, 88 out of 80 now. So far losing a total of at least 4 Overlords. And so Snute not in a particularly good position, although he does have 3 expansions. So once he is up and running, it's going to be very difficult to stop him. Even a macro hatch is coming up now. So ShowTime has to do everything he can right now to slow down this Zerg because of letting him actually expand this many times. And this macro hatch is going to spice things up a little bit as well. And going to get a few more drones here. And units lost tab, 1,150, 21 units lost. Only 1 for the Protoss. But once again, the Zerg Snute right now is sort of a sleeping giant, a second macro hatch now at an expansion here. And so we have 2 macro hatches and another expansion at the gold mine now. Gold minerals, rather. And so Snute going to be a sleeping giant indeed, the only word I have for it. And we can take a look at the income tab here, way more than the Protoss right now, and he's not even, really hasn't even begun and completed the saturation of most of these expansions here. So it's going to be pretty crazy here soon, taking out the rocks at the Protoss, but there is a pylon there to keep an eye on that. Tried to get in there, but couldn't quite do that. Warp Prism loading up some zealots. And there is a Spore Crawler there, multiple queens, but still loses the Overlord regardless. And you just lost only 2 now, 4 now. And Zergling's going to take out the pylon. And a pile of Zerglings moving across the map here, trying to get into the center. But just not going to happen now with the force fields here. And they, for a moment there, I thought they were maybe going all the way around there, but 2 gateways now going to block off that way. Zerglings may have to take out these destructible force field rocks here. And so many Zerglings out on the map now. And this is what I mean. He has so much larvae. And the amount of injectable possibilities here. Doesn't even have a queen at this one to inject. And income now 4,000, nearly double his opponent. And so now ShowTime is going to be on the other side of the winning, which is losing. At least economically, another expansion here coming down for the Protoss, and this is definitely what he needs. And now a ton of Corruptors out. And Corruptors everywhere, along with a million Zerglings, the Million Zergling March. Warp Prism tried to drop there in the main, but was unsuccessful. Dropped a couple Zealots there, and maybe he'll take out 1 Queen, but no, the Transfusion's going to save them. And so the Zealots die in vain. And is 2-0 with this, and is going to be 3-0 shortly. Well, actually just begun the level 3 upgrade. So this is a very interesting game. And now going after the expansion, but a ton of photon cannons here. 4 photon cannons being placed down at the expansion. And of course the pylon's overcharged as well. And so we are set up for a very, very interesting game. Tempest in the sky. But Snute has such a huge economic advantage right now. It is insane. 3,000 minerals floating. And he is at 196 of 200 with 3,300 floating. He just can't spend it all. And overcharged pylons here with photon cannons. And now we have Broodlords. And the Tempest trying to shoo away the Broodlords. And Broodlords hacking away at the photon cannons. And here comes the gigantic pile of Zerglings, but Psystorm eats them alive. So many bodies. What a brutal game. Still floating 3,000 resources here at 187. He can't even spend it all. So he is just pouring Zerglings in. And now even the Queens are getting in on the action with the Broodlords as well. Now using all the Tempest to simply focus fire and one-shot the Broodlords, and will survive that onslaught for now. And finally, the Zerg's monetary funds have been chipped away a little bit by about half. And tried to expand there, couldn't quite do that. And now the Zerglings are breaching the base here. Zealots being called in, but not enough, just too many Zerglings. And in just a moment, they will be 3-0. And some underpowered robotics facility here. Or rather, unpowered. And can ShowTime come back from this? I'm not sure. The Zerg is just an absolute powerhouse. Now, it did absolutely nothing for close to 8 minutes into the game or so, but double macro hatch and 4 expansions is a lot of larvae to go around. But now the funds in the bank are actually depleting down to about 800 here instead of 3,000. And both sides ready to go again here, and here comes the million Zergling March, but they decide to back away. Too many Tempests. You know, too much of a damage. Is that a real thing? I don't think so. Skystorm hits a bunch of those Banelings, but the Corruptor is just going to eat away these Tempests. And this may be it here, and that is GG for ShowTime. Snute, the winner. And just unbelievable. What a crazy replay. So much larvae. And it pays to expand like that. But the problem is the quick Phoenix really couldn't do the damage that he really wanted to do. Killed some Overlords, sure. Killed a bunch of drones, sure. But with that many hatcheries, you really need some things on the ground to take care of that. Adepts and or Zealots, anything basically on the ground to take care of that many drones. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.